Hi, this is Kyle from Green Hat Local SEO, and in this video I want to go over something that a lot of people are still confused by, and I get a lot of questions asked to me personally about this, and that is schema. So I'm not going to go over everything about schema. That could take hours and hours and hours to go over, but I am going to show you what schema looks like, why it's important, and how you can check if your schema is actually doing anything for your web page and for your business. So before we do that, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, leave a comment. Let me know if you think I'm full of shit or if you think I'm an asshole, or if you just have ideas for other videos you want me to do. So schema. Schema is one of those things that a lot of people still don't really understand, and it's because it's not as simple to do and as easy to do as something like building links or writing content or designing an infographic or anything like that. It's not really intuitive like that. You do need to know a little bit about JavaScript and how to write code and things like that, which most people generally don't know how to do, and even a lot of SEOs don't know how to do it. You can use tools like this. Like I said, like it's not as easy as like on-page SEO, where we have Core to help us, we have Page Optimizer Pro to help us, we have you can write content with myriad of AI writing tools out there. There are some AI tools for schema. They're not great. They do a little bit of overkill, and I'm going to show you what I mean by that. And it really is best to do it yourself or with a tool to help you, and not rely solely on AI to do it for you. So what is schema? Why is it important? What does it do? Well, schema, like I said, is a special type of JavaScript. So we use JSON LD schema. And what this does is this gives Google more context, and it makes it a little easier for Google to read your page. So what do we want to do with schema? We want to do three different things, right? We want to reflect, we want to expand, and we want to connect. There we go. Okay, so reflect, what does this mean? So reflect basically means you just want to put whatever is written about on that page onto your schema. So web page content goes into the schema. If it's on the page, it needs to go into your schema. It needs to be called what we call marked up, right? All your content on there, everything goes into the schema. Expand, what do we mean by this? Well, expand means you want to give further context to the entities or ideas on the page, and entities, right? So what we mean by this is not only do you want to reflect what's on the page, but you want to expand on that, give Google more information about what you're talking about, right? So this means that while it might not be directly written about on the page, you can still add in more information. This includes things like internal links. You could put internal links on there, right? With or you can put even external links for pages that are highly related, using the significant link and the related link fields in web page schema, right? You can add in things like your citations in the same as fields in your schema. All your citations should go in the same as field, right? They're not directly written about on the page, but you want to expand on the information for your company and tell Google, hey, all these citations are the same as us, right? You can do knows about, which means, hey, we also know about all these other things, even if they're not directly written on this page, right? So you're expanding Google's knowledge of who you are, your business is as an idea, as an entity. You're expanding that with things you know about and who you are the same as with your citations and your social profiles and stuff, right? And then connect means right here, you want to connect the ideas and entities to Google's knowledge graph, right? So you do this with the MREID. And I'm going to go over this too, so you're not too confused, which is things starting with G. I'll show you that in a little bit. You can also do that with Wikipedia links, because Wikipedia is a highly trusted, highly authoritative site. And basically what we're doing here is you're disambiguating the ideas and entities that are on the page. So for example, say you wrote about a page about apples. So boom, reflect apples. You're putting that in your schema. Expand on that, right? So you're going to put in here high quality American apple, right? Cool, but that can mean a lot of things. High quality American apple, like a Red Delicious apple, a Granny Smith apple? Are you talking about Gwyneth Paltrow's daughter? Are you talking about Apple, the company? What are you talking about, right? So you're giving further context by saying a high quality American apple, but then you want to connect that to the knowledge graph by putting in the MRE ID or the Wikipedia link and associating that with Apple. So here you're talking about, a high quality American Red Delicious apple, or it could be the Apple, the company, depending on what Wikipedia links and what knowledge graph links that you put in there, right? So all these things are going to go into your schema, and this is going to make it so much easier for Google to understand what your page is about. One thing I want to talk about too is John Mueller said that schema does not guarantee higher rankings, which he's right about. Kind of. Like most things, John Mueller just gives you half-truths and little breadcrumbs here and there. Just all the white hats love to fucking eat up and lick his boots and shit like that, right? But like most things John Mueller says, you have to take it with a grain of salt and you have to read between the lines. While yes, it does not guarantee you higher rankings, it can and it can do it. I've seen it, and if you want to message me privately, I'll show you a page that is ranking for a specific keyword that other people are targeting without any content on the page itself. It's all just in the schema, and this page is ranking #1 for that keyword. Right. The other thing schema can do too is it makes it easier for you to get rich snippets and rich results. It makes it easier for you to rank for more keywords, right? Because you're putting much more information on there, so you can rank for a broader range of keywords. And there's also a lot of evidence that Google will use schema for AI overviews too, if you're worried about that at all. So schema is really important for your website. Schema is really important for your GBP rankings, and a lot of people really don't do it properly. Again, I'm not going to go over exactly how to do it, what to do. That could be hours and hours and hours of video, but I'm going to show you what not to do and what you should be doing and how to see if your schema is actually any good. So how are we going to do this? So I'm going to get this schema. It's just, this isn't great. I got a little busy and I couldn't completely finish this, but it's better than probably 90% of pages out there. So what I'm going to do, and what you should do with your schema is go to ChatGPT, say, please write a page based solely on this schema. Please include each schema type and any links or images included. Okay. There we go. Boom, look at this. Botox treatments. Botox, YT sculpted. Look at this. YT sculpted. So here's this, what Botox can do for you about sculpted. Let's see. Related topics. Look at this. How do we get there? Look at all this information that is on this page. It's still going. There we go. So look at all this information that's included on the page, right? We can also say too here, let's see, please make the page more conversion focused. Again, only include, here we go, the information provided by the schema. Look at that. So you can see here's like the intro paragraph, why choose Botox sculpted, why locals trust sculpted, right? Because we got the review schema in there. Look at this, other things, other information about Sculpted MD, right? Here are the links that are included. So look at all this information on here that you can use to put into a page, right? Now let's choose, so I chose, the keyword I looked for since I'm doing Botox here was just Botox in San Diego, and I chose some pages that weren't ranking based on, just organic searches. So one thing I do want to caution is more schema does not necessarily mean better schema, fields and properties in here. Looks fucking great. You know, if you didn't know any better, you'd be like, oh my God, look at this schema. It's so fucking amazing, right? Person, oh, look at all this. But when you actually ask ChatGPT to write the schema, this is it, right? All that schema, all that bullshit that was written there really didn't amount to much, right? Because they didn't really do the schema right. They had a whole bunch of fields, but they didn't actually fill the fields out properly. So a lot of it couldn't even be used. So more schema like this does not necessarily mean better schema. And this is what we see a lot with different AI written schema. Is it looks really impressive and there's a lot of fields, but they're not done correctly and they don't actually give a whole lot of information, right? Now compare that with this schema, which tells you more about Sculpted MD, you know, what Botox is, what it can do for you, things like that. Whereas with this schema, it talks about the doctors and stuff, but this is all that's being written about who they are. Now, remember, this keyword is for Botox in San Diego, and now all of a sudden this is talking about Carlsbad and Temecula. So how is that going to help you if you're looking for San Diego? Cool. Botox, schedule a consultation. Okay, there's a link here. Cool, but no actual phone number, whereas here, look at this. We have a phone number and a link, right? So you can see here, AI written schema, not great. More schema does not necessarily mean better schema, right? Let's see, did we just do this one? Let's see. Okay, so here's one that was actually done with RankMath, right? So this is one where if you're just using out-of-the-box schema, if you're using RankMath, this is kind of what it gives you. I'm not even going to bother putting this into ChatGPT because you can see here, this doesn't give any additional information for Google, right? Nothing here. If I pop this in here, it's not going to write anything about Botox on there, right? So using just out of the box, even from popular plugins, is really not going to help you much. This is why you need to write it on your own. Let's see. Here's another one, Club Inject San Diego. So who did this one? I think, oh, this is Squarespace schema, right? Okay, so let's do this, and we'll say, please do the same for this schema. Right, so we'll do that. Let's see, Club Inject San Diego, local business, and website. So this is if you're using Squarespace, and why you probably shouldn't be using Squarespace, right? That's it. Now, if you went to this web page, would this make you want to choose Club Inject for Botox? Probably fucking not. Especially not when you see schema that Kyle has written with all this information on there, right? Now, when you compare this schema to this schema, I mean, obviously, what's better, right? What's going to be giving Google more information? Is it the stupid out-of-the-box bullshit from Squarespace or the schema that Kyle has written by hand here, right? Oh, so we just did Club Inject. Let's do Malone MD. So here's one. This is why. So this is one from some bullshit SEO agency who doesn't really know what they're doing. I see them a lot, and we outrank them all the time because they do not know what's going on. We'll say, please do the same for this schema. Let's look at this. So remember, we're looking for Botox in San Diego. Meet Dr. Melanie Malone, MD, LA's La Jolla's trusted facial plastic surgeon. Cool. Okay. Well, what about Botox in San Diego, right? Fucking nothing. And that's because while they did handwrite this and they weren't just using out of the box schema from Squarespace or Yoast, because this is a bespoke, a hand built site, they did it all wrong. Right? They wrote physician schema on a page that's supposed to be about Botox, right? So imagine you search for Botox and this page was given to you. Okay, cool. Botox. Is there anything about why you should do it? What the benefits are? Right? Nothing. It's all about Dr. Melanie Malone. They used the exact wrong schema on this page. They used person schema, physician is a subtype of person schema, on a page about a service. Right? So imagine you, like, again, you search Botox San Diego and this page is given to you. You're going to be confused because you're like, what does this have to do with Botox in San Diego? Right? This is all about Dr. Melanie Malone. Right? So again, just handwriting your schema does not necessarily mean that it's going to be good schema. Or even like this, like they use something that honestly not a whole lot of people use. This is a pretty obscure schema. This I'm sure Influx went to this and like, you know what? We wrote this schema. Nobody else is doing this schema. It's all about you, Dr. Malone. Look at this. Google's going to know exactly who you are, right? And then when you really get down to it, you realize, well, shit, they fucked it all up because none of this is about Botox, right? So this is why, again, like, don't just be wowed by somebody who can write schema, handwrite schema, because they might be doing it wrong, right? Now, here's one that is just, it kills me. So this is, I think this is Wix, right? Yeah, so this is Wix. This is again why you don't use Wix. Why in our agency, if somebody comes to us with a Wix site, we don't accept it unless we rebuild the site for you, and we're going to charge you for that, right? Okay, please do the same for this schema, right? Wix, for as much as people use them, as great as they think their SEO is getting, still fucking is embarrassing, right? So what about this is about Botox in San Diego, right? Nothing. Wix is god awful at this. This is embarrassing. They should be embarrassed, right? This is why, again, in our agency, if you come to us with a Wix site, fuck no, we rebuild it. We're charging you for that, or we don't work together, right? So this is why you need to be careful when looking at schema, because again, most people don't really understand it, right? Even these big agencies, really don't know what to do with schema. So schema really should be a way for you to, again, reflect the web page content in the schema, right? You're telling Google, here's what's on the page, here's what you can expect, because schema goes at the top of the page before any of your content. It's the first thing that Google's going to read, right? So this is kind of priming Google to understand what the page is about. You're expanding on that by giving further context to the ideas and entities behind the schema, and then you're connecting that to the knowledge graph so Google knows exactly what these entities are, right? So look at this here. So we're using the knowledge graph. Let me see right here, right? So here is the knowledge graph link, right, for Botox, right? And let me see, what else do we have here? And then here is, let's see, the knowledge graph right here. Let's look at this one right here. Boom, for wrinkles, right? So now we're disambiguating, we're making it more clear exactly what we are writing about on this page, right? And this really is the best way to write schema and to give Google more information and to help Google fully understand what your page is about and what you are trying to rank for. If you want to see something really cool, let's see. If you want to see what this looks like in an easier to understand format, go to json-ld.org/playground. Enter your JSON in here, your schema in here, and this is going to give you kind of a better visual of what your schema looks like, right? Visualize, boom. So here's a schema, boom. Look at this. So these are all the different nodes and all the different information, nodes of information that we have on this page, right? Look at all this information that I marked up and I gave further context to Google about on this page, right? Look at this. So all this information is being encoded in that JavaScript, in that schema, right? So let's go back to some of these other examples, right? Let's take this Wix one. Let's see, you can do, let's see, take this. Let's see, please format this into proper JSON LD schema. And it's going to write this here. Boom. Okay, let's copy this. So remember what that looked like back when, with my handwritten schema, all that information that we had that was encoded in there. Now look at what Wix does, right? Pretty fucking embarrassing, right? That's it. This is all the information that's in there. So you can see how much is being left out and how much information I'm adding in when I write the schema, when our agency writes our schema. Now, imagine if you're Google and you have 2 web pages, right? And so all this information that's here on this Wix site, you can see really just pales in comparison to actually properly done schema that, like I had handwritten. You know what? I'm going to duplicate this. Let's duplicate this and let's do this all over again. So you can see side by side. And this is really honestly another reason why you should never use Wix, right? Let me see. There we go. Let me see. Okay, let's do that. Visualize. So again, here is the schema that I've written. And again, like I could have done this a lot better. I kind of ran out of time here, so it wasn't my best work. Hold on, there's another one here, maybe not. Okay, so it wasn't my best work, but you can see all the additional information that I've encoded in the schema here, right, compared to this. Now, if you were Google and all things being equal, you had to judge these websites and rank these websites based on schema, which one would you do? If you were a person and you were going to these websites and you're reading the information or reading the content based solely on the schema, which one would you rather, or which one would you trust, right? So obviously, you can see the difference between not even great schema, just good enough schema, and schema that other bullshit SEOs and stuff put out, right? And Google sees this same thing, right? Again, I'm not going to go over all the different types of schema, but if you want to learn more about schema and you want to learn what potentially could be written, just go to schema.org, go to the docs. You can see it has everything in here. Literally everything that you need is going to be written on here. So for example, here we go. Let's go to local business. If you want to write local business schema for your business, these are all the things that you could potentially write about. Now, there is a certain there is a point of diminishing returns, and even though Google helped to develop JSON LD schema, they don't use all of these properties directly for ranking. And we've tested this with keywords and stuff. They don't even read all of these different properties. So you kind of got to know which ones to put in, which ones are going to give you the most power and the most push. Again, that's why I said there is a point of diminishing returns, because you can sit here writing hours and hours and hours of schema when really you only needed a few dozen different properties, right? Rather than the 100 or so that you could be doing. So, but if you do want to learn more, go to schema.org. All the information is in here for all the different schema types and all the different type of properties and information that you can put into the schema here. Or you know what? If you don't want to do this, right? If you don't want to spend time writing this schema yourself, then let us do it. Right? If you want better rankings for your business, if you want to get more leads, then contact us at jhls.io. This is one of the things that we do. We write some of the best schema out there, which absolutely does fucking get our clients ranked. Go back to our other videos. Go see what we did for these med spas and these electricians and shit like that. Don't bother trying to do this yourself, because you need to do things that are going to run or are going to be needed to run your business and get you where you want to be in life. Don't fucking bother with schema. Let us deal with that. So again, my name is Kyle Sabra from Green Hat Local SEO, and I will talk to you later.